Sole Administrator of Rivers State, Ibok-Ete Ibas, has announced the appointment of Michael Odey as the new chairman of the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission. This was confirmed in a statement issued on Tuesday by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Ibibia Lucky Warika. Ibas has also approved the reconstitution of RSIEC. These appointments come amid ongoing political tensions in Rivers State. The new RSIEC members include Dr. Michael Odey, Chairman, Mr. Lezasi Leni Tobira, Member, Professor Dr. Arthur Nwafo, Member, Professor Godfrey Woke Mbudioga, Member, Professor Dame Joyce Akaniwo, Member, Dr. Mrs. Olive Abrews, Member, Professor Chide Halliday, Member. Ugochukwu, what do you make of these developments
in Rivers State?
Yes.
I thought the drama and the impasse and the hula baloo in politics in Rivers State has become a thing of the past. But it seems not to be going away anytime soon, because if Ibas has been here since on the 18th or 19th of March 2025 when he assumed office, and we are still having discrepancies, dissenting voices, and people aligning and realigning with what is legality or illegality of it. I think it is rather becoming a clog in our wheel of progress in Rivers State. Be that as it may, I don't know why this story came up first, because I'm going to start on a very, very disappointing note, Laurentia.
How so?
You know, if we go by what emergency rules are, and the administrator being a placeholder, he's just a placeholder, he's just a supervisor. So I think that Mr. President and the National Assembly, his terms of reference from what Mr. President told us in the broadcast he made cumulating into the proclamation of the state of emergency Rivers State did not include this. I think since Ibas came, I've been one of those who to speak into the minds of our people in Rivers State to see the good sides of why Ibas is here, and why Mr. President may be right. I said maybe in quotes, because there are some things that are not right, and this is one of it. So I want to disagree totally from the reconstitution of the RSIEC committee or commission by Ibas. He has no business about reconstitution or even the suspension of RSIEC. Yes, he may have the right to suspend them so that they won't go ahead with planning of the election, as Mr. Governor, before he was suspended, made a state broadcast and directed RSIEC to go into the activities that will accumulate into local government election that could have happened around August 2025. But from the proclamation of a state of emergency on Rivers State, I think everything about RSIEC would have been left in the coolers. And the Ibas have no constitutional right. I say it with all sense of sincerity and all sense of patriotism that he has overlapped, and he is now taking more than what is constitutionally or what the Mr. President have sent him to come and do. So he has no business to conduct local government elections in Rivers State. I don't think it is one of his statutory assignments in Rivers State. And I also believe that his duties are cut out, in the sense that as somebody who is a supervisor, I have said it on different fora that Ibas cannot even award a contract. he's only here to oversee that the contractors that have been paid up to 80% or 70% that have their work ongoing do not stop work. He don't even have the constitutional backing to even pay whether their money is remaining 20% or 10%. He cannot pay it. Where did the money come from? Appropriation? Is it because he's talking about an appropriation bill? The appropriation is for him to guide him within the time frame of 6 months.
Which of the appropriation?
No, the one he's talking about, the budget. He has spoken about budget, which have defended him, that he will not be drawing monies from the blues. At least he should be accountable to Mr. President. And if Rivers people want to know what is happening with their monies, they should go to the National Assembly or to Mr. President and ask. You remember that few days ago, the House of Representatives suddenly woke up and said that they are going to constitute a committee to oversee. This is what they should have been, that what they should have done from ab initio before ratifying the state of emergency, Mr. President said, because the Constitution clearly says that where the state assembly is not functional, the activities of that state legislature will be handed over to the National Assembly. So I believe that it is only the National Assembly that also have the statutory power to oversee what Ibas is doing in Rivers State, despite the fact that it is an emergency. So constituting or even dissolving, he should have only suspended the activities of RSIEC.
All right. Very
so
well.
I think that is where I think he, in my own
your
view,
grounds is coming
yes,
from. All right. Very well. For the first question, I will ask you: in an emergency or in an emergency situation like we find ourselves in Rivers State, would you say that right now democracy is in play in Rivers State?
Democracy is not in play. That is where democracy has been. Anything democratic setting and tenets have been suspended in Rivers State. See, I was on your sister radio station yesterday, and I said that in Nigeria, the CNC, which is President Bola Tinubu, who is standing behind him, who is his ADC, the man, the vice president, the governors, senate president, the speaker, and all the government functionaries, the ministers, and all whatnot. The people that are their aides are Nigerian policemen. But in Rivers State, you could see the person standing behind the bus is a military man.
Now,
so if you just oppose it, you will not understand. Even when he arrived at Port Harcourt International Airport, a guard of honor was mounted by the Nigerian police, by the Nigerian military. You know, maybe comprising of the Air Force, the Army, and the Navy. So he inspected a guard of honor. A civilian governor cannot inspect a guard of honor mounted by the military, apart from Mr. President.
Now, the question I am asking is driving to one point. Now, if we are not in a democratic rule in Rivers State, can one say that he is bound by the constitution that is not even in effect as it is?
But he cannot conduct a local government election.
Hold on, I asked you a question.
He is not bound.
Now, the democratic rule is suspended in Rivers State, as it were.
Yes.
Which means constitution, to a large extent, is also suspended.
Yes.
Now, if you are looking at it from that perspective, it means that the National Assembly makes law for Rivers State, not the Rivers State House of Assembly, as it were.
Of course.
Now, will Ibas, and Ibas on one hand, the National Assembly, when they were ratifying that, said he cannot make laws for Rivers State, that he cannot make laws for Rivers State. However, he can come up with rules that will guide his administration, but he cannot make laws. Now, with respect to reconstituting RSIEC, there is a Supreme Court judgment already, and which was one of the concerns everybody had when Supreme Court gave judgment sacking the 23 local government chairmen. The question was, who are the people? How is the local government now going to get paid? Because there was an order, if there are no democratically elected council chairmen, that state cannot receive local government allocations. now as it were in Rivers State. Not only do we have a state of emergency in terms of governance at the state level, at the local level, there appears to be a state of exactly. There appears to also be a state of emergency, considering again that this state of emergency has a lifespan of 6 months. What would you have the local government do? What do you think is the fate of local governments, not just the local government as well, but local government workers receiving their salaries?
I think that question has been answered because Ibas have paid the local governments and the state civil servants. He has taken the initiative, and monies we are released to him. Let us understand that what could be applied in this scenario is the doctrine of necessity, and which everybody has come to align. Even before he started appointing, even made mention of appointing local government administrators, I defended him in a forum and said that being a sole administrator, it means that he is the only person taking decisions. He is the beginning and the end, so to say, in Rivers State. The words go out from him. He does the thinking and he does the execution, and he also takes the blame. So, but he can't do it alone. He can't be on auto bi-locational movement. He cannot be in the state house and be in local governments. That is why he immediately came. He has to appoint an SSG. That is just to tell you that at least a seemingly government is in place. Even as it stands now, it was laughable to see some people going to court, carrying a Ibas name to court in Rivers State. It is laughable. Because taking him to court is as well as taking Mr. President to court. Ibas will just carry the document to Mr. President. Go and represent yourself in court. Because he was seated in his home, and Mr. President called him and said, go and be a placeholder until normalcy returns. This is an emergency rule where the normality, there is abnormality that needs to be returned to normal. So that is what is happening here today. So Rivers State, as a state that is in a state of emergency, is where doctrine of necessity will be introduced. But if from the question you asked me, that Rivers State is going to see an election under Ibas because of the Supreme Court judgment that is saying that no non-constitutional democratically elected officers will man the local government. I think it is not to be brought into this kind of fray, because now that we are on an emergency rule, and unfortunately enough for Rivers people, the Supreme Court sacked the local government chairman. If the local government chairman
unfortunately for Rivers people,
for Rivers State now, because now that we're in emergency rule, assuming without considering that the local government chairman were duly elected and they are still functional, the president will not suspend them. Mr. President, in this state of emergency, will not ask them to vacate the offices. They will be there, but their work as democratically elected principals will no longer be functional as it were. They will only be reporting to Ibas. Their whatever constitutionally, whatever democracy they were practicing will be suspended. The Ibas will call them and say, you report directly to me and I tell you what to do. Because in that state, in that space, democracy will not be working in the local government and not working in the central unit of the state. Hence, the state legislature is no longer sitting because they do the oversight. So there also it seems as if the judiciary, why they are functioning is that the judiciary are not elected. They are career civil servants. So if you also look at it, you know that the judiciary might be somehow in their functionality in Rivers State will be in question because we are on an emergency rule, and this Ibas.
Recall that
Ibas is looking on fiat.
Recall that a Rivers State High Court had also restrained the governor the sole administrator from appointing 23.
But that's why I say this is even laughable.
So, no, when you say their function to a large extent will be affected.
Yes,
they
are functioning.
Has gone ahead.
Yes, to do that. Forgetting that we are on emergency rule. That is where I'm trying to paint the picture so that people can understand vividly what they can now say. This particular sector is functional in Rivers State,
all right, and
this one is not functional. So let our people understand that we are in an emergency rule, and there is to an extent where the laws can be binding on Ibas.
All right, very well. Interesting perspective there, but I'm going to ask you a final question before we move over to the next story. And the question is a very simple one. Now, like the National Assembly said earlier, Ibas cannot make laws, correct?
Yes, and I've said it here.
And you told me that when he said he was going to present the budget, you defended why that budget was needed, correct?
Yes.
Now, very well. Are you aware that budget is a law?
Yes, budget is a law.
And you defended it?
Yeah, no,
now, hold on. Budget is a law.
Yeah, budget is a law.
Appropriation bill.
Yes.
That is passed into law.
Yes.
And then it turns into a budget.
Yes.
So now budget is a law. And you, Ifeanyi Chukwu, defended that Ibas should go ahead.
Should get a...
Wait, hold on. You are defending Ibas presenting a bill that will be passed into law. You defended it. Yes. And even though that was against the instruction of the National Assembly, you defended why the sole administrator had to go against that instruction that was binding upon his office and his functionalities. And then on the other hand, you are now saying appointing, reconstituting the RSIEC and appointing a new RSIEC chairman and new RSIEC members. It is not right. How is it that one is not right and the other is right? Because I want it to make sense to me. Appointing RSIEC on one hand is not a law. It is not.
Yes.
And that was the clear instruction that was given to him by the National Assembly. But on the other hand, presenting an appropriation bill is akin to making a law, which if it is passed by the National Assembly becomes a law, which means Ibas has passed a law against the instruction of the National Assembly. So how come you defend one and the other is not acceptable by you?
You know, we call it appropriation because I don't know the name which he would have given it. Hence, he will be liaising with the National Assembly for monies to be released to him. He is looking at some of the statutory, payments and monies that will be expended within this time frame. And that is why he's coming out with a kind of what will be expended within these 6 months.
It's called an appropriation.
That is what I'm saying. I say if he had another name, I don't think we would have given it an appropriation, because I sat here with you where I said that is this budget, where I questioned it, is this budget he's talking about now going to outlive 6 months? That if it were to outlive 6 months, is it that when Fubara comes back, he will now continue from where Ibas stopped in the spending, or the National Assembly in their wisdom will only give him money? Remember, the monies that he needs is just to oil his administrative well, especially to pay civil servants, pay the local governments, and that is all. Maybe to oil maybe this what do we call it, this Rewama, all those people that are doing activities that will keep the state clean. You could see within the first 1 week he came, River State was becoming too filthy, and we cried out. So he quickly, told people to go back to work, and we have seen that the place is getting clean. So I am not saying that what his proposal, if it's an appropriation that will be called 2025 appropriation bill. Remember that we have left January to March before he came. So whatever he's talking about now that has my support is the monies or the framework.
However you put it.
Yes, but
however hold on. Because I see you struggling to run around appropriation bill.
Yes.
And 2025
because
budget.
he didn't have the locus.
Yes. But however you're running around, I see the struggle. But when the SSG was speaking, even when Ibas was addressing the caucus from the National Assembly, the River State caucus, the River State National Assembly caucus that went to visit him, he said it clearly that he's going to present the 2025 budget to the National Assembly and asked that the caucus will also support him in that move. It was clear. He did not say it was a proposal. He did not call it a proposal. He did not call it a framework. He did not call it every other name that you're running around now.
Yes.
The thing is this. Ibas is going to present appropriation bill to National Assembly. That is making a law.
If it's an appropriation bill,
the moment it is passed into a budget,
yes,
it becomes a working document. It becomes a law that will guide River State expenses for 2025. Correct?
Yes.
Now, I am asking you, if you're defending, because you said that certain the sole administrator is limited as to his constitutional powers, and the constitution is still binding on him, even though, you know, we are not in a democratic government right now. And I am asking you, you defended the sole administrator making a law. But on the other hand, the one that is not even law in the first instance, because appointing RSIEC Chairman and the team to work with him, it's not law, but governance. But on the other hand, if you're defending him making a law, why on the other hand are you now against governance?
But yes, I'm really happy you understood where I am now. The audience will also understand my position.
Yeah.
If Ibas, I am saying it on national television, if Ibas is proposing in his mind 2025 appropriation bill for River State, I am against it. I am totally against it. But what I have said from ab initio is that within the time frame, the monies that will be expended, at least let us have an account. Let us have what is being expended within this time frame. Even if Ibas don't want to make a formulation of a working document as it concerns monies, you could also be paying the workers, which is the only thing that I know that he will be doing that will require substantial amount of money.
River State,
to pay
governance and running a state.
Yes,
goes way beyond payment of salaries.
But yes,
I hope you understand.
Yes, and I've said it
goes way
also.
Beyond, so you can't limit it to payment of salaries.
But what I'm saying is that is where we have the bulk of money, and the people that you will see, how are these people going to be disenfranchised and denied their due pay at the end of the month?
Now, okay, let's just say,
yes,
let's just go with your thoughts,
yes,
that the sole administrator will now make an appropriation bill for the period of 6 months. It's still a bill.
Yes, I understand it. But he is not doing it. He is not doing it by fiat.
Hold on.
He's not doing it by fiat.
Is it a law?
The National Assembly will be the people to tell us what it is in their mind. Because for me, I'm not seeing it as a law. I see it as a document which will enhance him.
You never guide a state with a document. You don't govern a state with a document. I know you know better than that.
Yes.
But I know you're trying to struggle around the fact.
Yes, that I don't want to call it an appropriation.
It is what it is.
Yes, it's not an appropriation.
I'm bringing it to your notice.
There is no way he's going to, even if he reconstitutes RSIEC, why I said it wasn't important for him to have gone through that whole hog of spending his time to reappoint, why we had somebody whom, because remember that all those other government parastatals, agencies and commissions, he suspended the activities, especially those that are appointed under appointments, political appointments. He did not remove them because he has no power to do that. So having a suspended RSIEC commission and reappointing a new one, I don't know how that makes sense. To me, I don't know how it makes sense. And for me, whether he reconstitute them and give them potency or not, he cannot use them to conduct any elections.
All right.
So there was no need, after all, to be struggling to say that he reconstituted. That's where I'm making my own assertion.
Very well. You're looking at the constitutionality or the legality of constituting RSIEC and making appointments with regards to RSIEC and also plans to conduct elections. Because apparently this appointment signals
that there is ongoing
local government
which he cannot do.
Don't say he cannot. That's a finality. You're not the court of
constitution will.
That's not the court of
even
law.
Laurentia, you remember that he also made mention that he was going to open the employment portal. I laughed over it. How will you come for an emergency and say you're employing people, even when Nyesom Wike left and proposed 10,000 youths to be given employment opportunities to be given, and when there was a fallout, Seminary Fobra, scrapped it and reconstituted. Even till now, before he left office, running into his 2 years, he could not even employ. And Ibas is coming. No, we have to face the realities. Yeah, so Ibas have no constitutional. What are you going to call that? Yeah. If he employs somebody into the civil service of Rivers State, I don't know how that makes sense.
The interesting thing about this is that now there is a Supreme Court precedence. Before you will serve Ibas, or before you take Ibas to court, or his sole administrator, let me not even personalize it.
Yes.
He has to approve of that. Are you aware?
Yes, I'm aware. That's why I'm saying that. You recall I said that people that are taking him to court, they're wasting their time. But I made that illusion here, that they are wasting their time.
Interesting times. But still on Rivers State's crisis, Rivers State's sole administrator